Let me tell you something right now. This Detroit Lions roster is starting to look genuinely frightening, and I mean that in the absolute best way. Between what's happening on the defensive line and what I'm seeing with this 2026 schedule, I have things to say today that are going to make you pump your fist and things that are going to make you shake your head. But we're going through all of it because that's what we do here. I am the biggest Detroit Lions fan you will find anywhere on this platform. This is Detroit Lions Lovers. Let's get into it. I want to start with what has me the most fired up heading into this season, and that is this defensive line pairing that Pro Football Focus just put on the map for the whole country to see. PFF dropped a feature on the 5 best rookie veteran duos to get excited about across the entire NFL heading into 2026. 5 pairings, the whole league, and one of them belongs to Detroit. They're calling it the Wolverine Connection, Aiden Hutchinson and Derek Moore, and the moment I read that, I felt it. Because this is what we've been waiting for. This is the piece this defense has been missing. These two players missed each other by exactly 1 year at Michigan. 1 year apart in Ann Arbor, and now less than 50 miles east in Detroit, they're lining up together on the same defensive front. The story writes itself, but beyond the narrative, the football case for why this pairing works is deep, and I want to make sure people understand exactly why. Start with Hutchinson. Coming back from the fractured tibia and fibula that ended his 2024 season early, Hutch returned last year looking completely unhinged in the best way. His overall PFF grade was 91.8, fourth among every edge defender in professional football. His pass rush grade was 92.1, third in the entire NFL. He generated 100 total pressures, including 16 sacks, 64 hurries, and 20 hits. 3 consecutive seasons graded above 90 by PFF. This man does not regress. He just keeps getting better. And what makes him truly elite beyond the raw numbers is the fact that he can win off either side with nearly identical effectiveness. His pressure rate against right tackles last season was 17.9%. Against left tackles, it was 16.8%, basically the same number. You cannot scheme away from Hutchinson because he will find you wherever you put him. That versatility is everything, and it becomes even more powerful when you understand what Moore brings to the opposite end. Now, Derek Moore posted a 92.4 PFF pass rush grade last season at Michigan and a 17.5% pressure rate. Whenever someone brings up college numbers, people want to immediately discount them, and I understand why. The competition is different. College tackles are not NFL tackles. There's also the quick passing problem. A lot of college offenses have the ball out of the quarterback's hand before a pass rusher can even clear the blocker, which naturally deflates pressure rates. All fair. Apply that context. But here's what you cannot explain away. Hutchinson, one of the 3 best edge rushers in the NFL, posted 17.9% and 16.8% pressure rates against professional blockers. Moore posted 17.5% against college competition. Those numbers are in the same neighborhood. I'm not saying Moore is already Hutchinson. I'm saying that a prospect whose college pressure rate sits that close to an All-Pros NFL production is not your average draft pick. That tells you his instincts, his motor, and his ability to win in tight spaces are already functioning at an elite level. And the gap between where he is now and where coaching and NFL development can take him is where this gets genuinely exciting. And then there's the two-sidedness, which I keep coming back to because I don't think people are talking about it enough. Moore rushed the passer 109 times from the left side of the defensive line last season and 108 times from the right. That is a perfect 50-50 split. Defensive ends coming out of college almost never do that. They have a dominant side, a comfortable alignment, and that's where they stay. Moore did it both ways at Michigan, with identical comfort and identical production, which means he and Hutchinson now give defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard the ability to chase matchups. If Hutch wants the right tackle in a given game, give it to him. If Moore is better against the left side that week, work that angle. If the opposing protection overloads resources to one edge, the other side burns them. You are no longer predictable. That is scheming power that this team has never had at the edge rusher position. Here's what this also unlocks that the PFF article touched on. But I want to push further. You can now do with Hutchinson what the Cowboys have done with Micah Parsons for years. You can move him, kick him inside over the guard, slide him over center, line him up anywhere from the A-gap to way outside the tackle, and the offense has no idea which way the pressure is coming. Right now, every offensive coordinator who plays Detroit knows exactly where Hutch is going to be. They chip him. They send tight end help to his side. They design the whole protection around his alignment. All of that goes away the moment opposing linemen have to genuinely worry about Moore and DJ Wonnum getting free on the opposite side. Think about what that looks like on 3rd and 7. The offense has a longer developing concept. They've built their protection around Hutchinson on the left edge. Now Hutch kicks inside over the right guard. Moore is off the left edge. Wanham is on the right. The adjustment has to happen at the line of scrimmage in real time with the play clock running. Instead of the quarterback getting 3.5 seconds, he gets 2.2. The play breaks down. That is elite, sophisticated defensive football. And it only becomes possible when you have the personnel to force these impossible adjustments. We finally have it. One more thing on snap counts, because it matters and people overlook it. Hutchinson plays an enormous percentage of snaps for an edge rusher. He is a warrior, and he won't come off the field willingly. But for years, rotating him meant the pressure dropped from elite to non-existent. Now it doesn't. Moore can hold the edge while Hutch rests. And a fresh Hutchinson in the fourth quarter of a tight game in December, playing 65% of snaps at full energy instead of 85% wearing down, is more dangerous than a tired Hutchinson grinding through a full snap count. We finally have the rotation to do this right. I am genuinely excited about this defensive line. More excited than I've been about this position group since the day Hutchinson was drafted. All right, let's talk schedule, because I've had feelings about this all morning, and I'm going to be honest about all of it. Positive feelings, frustrated feelings. And one idea I came across that is absolutely genius and needs more attention. Here's my honest truth up front. Every single year there's something about how this schedule gets constructed that makes me look at the calendar and say, really, again? And I can already see it forming in 2026. But let me walk through what we know before I get into what bothers me. Week 2 is confirmed. Lions at Buffalo Bills. Thursday Night Football on Prime Video. September 17th, the grand opening of the brand new Highmark Stadium. I'll be real. I'm not thrilled about Prime Video. A lot of Lions fans don't have it and are going to be scrambling. That matters. But setting that aside, I actually like this game from a scheduling standpoint. September in Buffalo is manageable. I will take September at Buffalo over November or December at Buffalo every day of the week. That stadium in cold weather late in the year with that crowd is a completely different environment. So from a competitive perspective, I consider this a win on the calendar. Josh Allen is elite. They added DJ Moore at receiver. The crowd is going to be absolutely unhinged for their home opener. This is not easy. But if this team goes in there in September and takes that building's energy away on day one, that's a statement. And I think these Lions are capable of making it. What I need from week 1 is a home game against a manageable opponent. The full schedule drops tonight, and I'll be watching. Because if we stumble in week 1 and walk into Buffalo at 0-1, we're manufacturing adversity on a schedule that is supposed to be one of the most favorable in the entire NFL. Vegas has us as NFC North favorites, minus 215 to make the playoffs, plus 1,700 for the Super Bowl. The opportunity is real. Don't waste it by dropping the opener. Now, week 10. Lions versus the New England Patriots, Munich, Germany, November 15th, 9:30 in the morning Eastern Time. First, on the crowd situation, the Amon-Ra St. Brown and Germany connection is genuine, and I love that storyline. His roots over there, his fluency in the language, the German fan base that already supports him, that should be a real home crowd advantage. But apparently, the Patriots are one of the most popular NFL teams in Germany, which is wild to me. I don't fully understand it. But if the opponent we drew actually has a competing fan base in that building, this so-called home game isn't really a home game in any meaningful sense. And that perfectly illustrates my core problem with how international games are structured. Here's my actual proposal, and I think it's cleaner than what the league is doing. Make international games neutral site contests. No home team, no away team. Stay at 17 games, have 16 international matchups. Every team plays one. 8 home games, 8 away games for everyone's domestic schedule. Nobody loses a home game to a different continent. The season ticket holder keeps all their games. Ticket prices don't spike because inventory is protected. The international series still exists and the league still makes its money. This is not a complicated fix. The reason it doesn't happen is money and inertia, which are the reasons most bad NFL policies don't change. And on a personal note, the 9:30 a.m. kickoff is a real problem for me. I'm in church on Sunday mornings. I'm going to spend that entire service trying not to sneak a look at my phone to check what's happening in Munich. I cannot be the only Lions fan dealing with this. But here's what really has me frustrated. And it goes beyond the Germany game itself. Look at what the November schedule looks like for this team. Week 10 is November 15th in Munich. No bye week after. Lions president Rod Wood has already said publicly that he doesn't expect one. Week 11 is November 22nd. Week 12 is Thanksgiving, November 26th. Lions versus Bears at Ford Field. 3 games in 11 days, wrapped around a transatlantic flight. And we all know this team's injury history. We've watched defensive players in playoff games who belonged on the practice squad because the roster depth had been completely wiped out. And the league is scheduling this cluster right in the heart of November with no recovery week. I don't accept it quietly. It deserves to be said. The Thanksgiving matchup against Chicago is a game I love independently of the scheduling chaos around it. Ben Johnson, our former offensive coordinator, the architect of the offense that made this team must-see television, is now the Bears' head coach. He knows how we think. He knows how Dan Campbell operates. The Bears won the NFC North last season. They ended our 2-year title run. And now Caleb Williams is walking into Ford Field on Thanksgiving with all that backdrop behind him. This is the rivalry content that made me fall in love with this sport. I love playing the Bears on Thanksgiving. I just hate that this team will be doing it off a compressed, post-international travel schedule with no rest in between. Division games deserve full preparation time. These are the games that determine playoff seeding, home field, who wins the North. Putting them on a Thursday coming off an overseas trip is not the right way to treat a game of this magnitude. And I want to raise an idea I came across recently about the bye week problem, because it's one of the smartest scheduling reform proposals I've heard. We talk every year about how early byes hurt teams, how playing opponents coming off their rest week is a built-in disadvantage, how timing of the bye can functionally decide wins and losses that have nothing to do with talent. Here's the solution. Align divisional byes. Every team in a division takes their bye the same week. NFC North gets their bye week together. Lions, Bears, Packers, Vikings, all off simultaneously. Then the following week, you play division opponents. Nobody in the North has a freshness advantage over a division rival. Everyone enters those matchups from the same physical baseline. The teams you're directly competing with for playoff position all share the same rest schedule. It eliminates one of the most persistent, structurally unfair elements of the modern NFL calendar. I want to credit the beat writer who first raised this. I believe it came up on a Lions media show recently, and if you know exactly who said it, drop it in the comments, because that person deserves the credit. But the idea is genuinely brilliant, and the league should be having this conversation seriously. Look, I could be frustrated all day. Some of that frustration is earned. But that is not the energy I'm going into this season with, and it's not what this channel is about. The 2026 Detroit Lions have an elite defensive line pairing that is going to make quarterbacks miserable. They have a favorable schedule. They have Dan Campbell, who has built something in Detroit that this fan base has never seen before in our lifetimes. He is not on any hot seat. He has more playoff wins than any coach in this division since he arrived in 2021. More than the Packers, more than the Vikings, more than the Bears. He is the reason we matter in this league. And I believe in him and this team completely. Tonight, when that full schedule drops, we will be breaking it down in full right here. Subscribe if you haven't. Ring the notification bell. Detroit Lions Lovers is where Lions fans come to get real analysis, real passion, and complete honesty. I love this team more than any fan loves their franchise anywhere on this platform. And I will be with all of you every single step of the way through 2026. Detroit, all day. Let's go Lions.